You're now listening to Sound Talent Media. Check out more shows at soundtalentmedia.com.
Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Matt McGachy, the vocalist of Cryptopsy and the host of the Vox and Hops Metal Podcast, where I sit down with fellow metal musicians. We talk all about their lives and music while sharing killer craft beers. If you've ever wanted to sneak backstage and share a beer with one of your favorite musicians, well, Vox and Hops is the podcast for you. This week on the podcast, I dropped a killer episode with Kelly Schaefer of Atheist. There is this episode and over 440 other ones to help you enjoy life, metal, and craft beer. So what are you waiting for? It's time to become a Vox and Hops head. Cheers.
Well, hello there. Welcome to another episode of the podcast, or welcome to the podcast if it's your first time. I appreciate you clicking that button and spending your time with me. I know how important that is, and that does mean an awful lot to yours truly. I had a great episode with Jason and Tia. Really fun. And we went just into the deep spatial oblivion of different thoughts on the Patreon section. We got to know him on the first one, and then we just dove straight off the cliff into the deep end on the Patreon episode. So if you enjoy this episode, you enjoy the podcast, if you could support on Patreon, that would mean a lot. You get a bonus episode every week, and this week's was especially saucy in my book. I really had a lot of fun with it. So if you can, please support over on Patreon. $5 a month gets you extra episodes every week and my undying gratitude. And patrons are going to be the first people to know about the big project next week. Next week, February 9th, there's something ridiculous coming, and they are going to be the first people on the planet outside of those involved in the project that know about it. So that is where you can do that. If you want to be the next people, then you can join the text chat, which is in the show notes. You can grab that phone number or subscribe to the Tone Mob newsletter. All of those people are going to know about this thing before anybody else. And it's pretty ridiculous. I'm not going to lie. It's pretty ridiculous. So go over there and do that if you can. And if not, don't worry. I still have a great episode for you. Kick back, enjoy it, and let's dive straight in. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Tone Mob Podcast, the show about guitar stuff occasionally, sometimes. I'm your host, Blake Weiland, and with me today, I have Tia Bailey and Jason Mays from Working Class Music. What's happening?
Hey.
Ooh, I like that. Ooh, that was nice. Yeah. I like that. No, this is exciting. I've been wanting to talk to you guys for a while. We were talking off the mic about how I couldn't remember which of our three mutual friends introduced me to your channel, but it was one of Ryan from 60 Cycle, or Grant and Karen from Big Ear, or Emily from Get Offset. I don't know which one it was. It was one of those three, but I'm glad I found it because I think what you guys are doing is really cool. It's super dope.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So why don't you just tell me about yourselves? Like, when did you guys get into guitar, and what made you guys decide to start the channel ultimately? I'm sure that's a big, long story.
Oh, yes. With 3 episodes, 4 episodes. We'll just do the whole Star Wars thing, 9 episodes.
I like it. Let's do it.
A bunch of Disney Plus series.
In reverse. Yeah.
I'll start with the guitar part, and then I'll let Tia go, and then we'll both combo the show question.
Perfect.
As far as guitar for me, I got into it in high school. I was the blurred who not only loved video games, but I was also like, I went to put this in perspective, because you have to be there to understand. I went to an all-black high school, so we were very much like marching band specific, and I decided that I wanted to be the angsty kid, and I wanted to play guitar. So I was like, well, I can play guitar for like jazz band and like concert and whatnot, or like other stringed instruments. So
yeah,
I fell into it because of that. And then there were bands like, really for me, James Eha from the Smashing Pumpkins and Tom Morello, like seeing people of color like play guitar that for me was like, hey, I can do that too. And James just looks so damn cool in the Zero video playing the Jazz Master. So I was like, I can do that. I was like, I'm not Asian, but I can do that.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Still can't do that, but getting there.
But you're getting there. Yeah, you're working on it. Tia, how about you?
So kind of similar. I got started in middle school. So when I was around like 13 or so, I was gifted my first like electric guitar. Similar to Jason, bit of a blurred black nerd.
Yeah.
I was very much into anime, and I was having an angsty emo phase. So I was really into like My Chemical Romance and Green Day,
Oh, yes.
the Used and things like that. And I remember like Fuse TV was really big, and I would just watch like just all the stories on like Warped Tour and things like that. And I was like, I'm going to do that. Like that was like a goal of mine, was to be in a band and play Warped Tour. Obviously that hasn't happened, and Warped Tour is no longer a thing. But
when we were young.
When we were Young Fest, right?
I mean, yeah, I could just relive that there, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty much the same, just kind of seeing like a bunch of those bands. And then as I got older, you know, it went from like emo to like deathcore and metalcore. I like really liked Whitechapel, Suicide Silence, and things like that. After high school graduated, I don't want to say my music taste matured, but I learned that jazz chords exist.
I want to say all of us blurs either went through like an alternative, like for lack of a better term, butt rock phase.
Oh my God, yeah.
Or we went metalcore, like a religious, like Under Oath.
Oh yeah.
Bring Me the Horizon, like Suicide Silence. Like it was never in.
I've seen all those bands live. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
You're right.
As far as the show, T and I have always talked about it. We've had a couple of mutual friends, and we've always discussed the topic, especially given our jobs. And we would just run into each other and we'd talk about like, hey, we should do this. We should do this. And the opportunity presented itself, and between us, Nelson and Xander, the other part of the team,
behind the scenes.
Yeah, behind the scenes.
Yeah,
you know, we started it about a year and some change ago, and here we are now. Really, the goal was twofold. Not to say which corporation we're indebted to put it that way.
Big box guitar store.
Yes, big box guitar store. But I think for both of us, we loved helping people make music. Wow. And we love getting affordable gear into people's hands. We just love gear in general. And we also saw that, there were more people like us, people of color, and just generally like that market that for myself, I felt like the gear community wasn't really speaking towards. Like, and not even just as a color thing, just as in terms of like music, like, no offense, we know the John Mayer, like, blues riff exists, and it's just like, cool, someone's demoing like a Walrus Audio slow, and they're doing like John Mayer licks.
Like church chords.
Yeah, or church chords. And it's like, they totally get this. It's like, yeah, it's not like Slow Dive doesn't exist, or like things that we like, doesn't exist. And for me, I felt like that was underrepresented in the gear community. And I think the desire to create something that is very inclusive of people, because there are, I think for me, there are places within the gear community that don't feel necessarily as inclusive. And it's hard. It's hard. There are some guitar groups, which is funny because I was talking to Emily about this yesterday, where I'm going to use this as an example. There's a couple guitar groups that I'm a part of that are not kind to people that aren't of that community. So so my personal goal, at least on my end, was just to kind of make that a thing. And, as a show, I don't want to put words in Tia's mouth or anyone else's, and just to be more inclusive, just to talk more about gear, just to have just to get something that whether people like or hate us, they hopefully learn something and they like what we do. And, we're not getting paid for any of the gear we sell on there, or like, if people buy something, that's a plus. If they like it, it's just stuff we like to talk about, and we just want to add to the community with that.
Tia, are your goals similar? Like, you just don't see yourself in this community that much, so you're like, I guess I'm going to be the person to do it. Is that kind of the idea?
More or less, yeah. So also to kind of piggyback off of what Jason said, I don't know about him, but for me personally, like coming out of the year 2020, I was furloughed from my job and I wasn't really doing anything. I wasn't interacting with anyone, like everyone else or like a lot of other people. So I will say that there was like a bit of a low point where I was like kind of like in a really deep depression. And then like Jason just texted me out of the blue, and it was just like, we'd gone back and forth through the years just saying like, we should start a channel. Then he texted me and he was like, I'm starting a channel. Do you want to be a part of it? And I was just like, this gives me purpose. Yes.
Purpose.
Yeah. So it was kind of perfect timing because like coming out of that slump, I felt refreshed and motivated to really put something out there. And kind of like how he said, when I'm scrolling through like demo videos, I'm not really seeing people who look like me. Although that hasn't been the biggest factor. If there is someone out there who looks like me or is similar to me in any way, shape, or form, and just seeing me do the thing that they're interested in helps them feel just a sense of normalcy, like to make them feel like they belong and that they can try this thing, then I am all for that. Way back when I used to work sales at, generic big box guitar company. And I remember sitting down and playing guitar one day. And this black father is walking by with his daughter, who looks to be about 3, 4. She has to be less than 5 years old. And he points to me and he says, look, she can do that. You can do that. And like, I didn't say anything. I didn't react. But in my heart, I was just like, oh, my God. Oh, my God, no. I mean, like, yes, please. You can definitely do that. But like, I'd never thought of it like that until he said that. And I was like, oh, I can. Yeah, no, I've never seen that for me, rarely. So like, I could be that for someone else. And like, I don't know, hopefully someone else like rises from the ranks, the younger generations. Someone is going to grow up and like take it up. And I don't know, I'm not saying like be another Hendrix, but like, I don't know. I want someone to do something different. Yeah, do something different, make another wave, and just be that inspiration. That's dope.
No, I mean, I think some people undervalue the importance of like that, what that just happened with that father and that daughter, because and I don't really have that, right? I pretty much see me everywhere, but for me, when I started doing a lot more interviews with artists specifically, and just hearing their stories, are like, well, I just decided to start recording all my stuff. And then I just kept hearing that over and over again. And it was like, well, these people aren't any different than me. I should start recording my stuff. I'm not recording my music at all. And so in 2021, I really started putting a lot of effort into that. And it was because I realized that like people just like me are doing it. I always kind of put them up here and me, down a few rungs. When I realized that they were the same as me, it was kind of eye-opening. And if you can be that for somebody else, I think that is literally could be game-changing. Like it, not to try to put too much emphasis on that, but I think it's really important. It's a very valuable thing to do.
It is. To kind of add to that, I think it's important to feel like anything that you love is possible. And seeing that, like I said, for me growing up, seeing Tom Morello was just like, oh, damn, like I can do that. Of course, I had Jimi Hendrix, but Tom Morello was current to when I was growing up. And it was like, so I don't know. I mean, for me, especially within the music community that I've often been associated with, I just haven't seen a lot of me. And then when there were a lot of me, it was that moment of realization of like, hey, I'm not alone. Like, this is possible.
Yeah. So do you think, this is like a question I wanted to ask you guys because this was part of the mission statement, so to speak. like when I look at my demographics and things, like one thing that's always been, I talked about this on the Chasing Tone podcast with Wampler here recently. But one thing that's interesting, this is like attracts like, you know? And so almost, 75% of my demographic is, 24 to 45 dudes, and I think some of that is due to that's me, and but I've also actively tried to bring people with different perspectives on the show because I want to learn. I want to see what other people are seeing, make sure I'm not missing stuff, which I constantly am. How much of it is that's just who's been kind of in the forefront of the guitar community versus how much of it is just communities gravitate towards different things sometimes? What do you guys think about that?
That's a good question. At least on our end, that's a really good question. Because I haven't really check the stats as far as the channel goes in terms of demographics.
I think we checked once. It was 99% male. So
yeah.
we're not really pulling in the female audience. So I'm not pulling my weight. I'm sorry, y'all.
No, I mean, you are pulling your weight. I'm not pulling my weight.
We need to get Jason in a bikini, y'all. We gotta fix these numbers.
I gotta lose a bit more weight for that. But I would say
I don't know. I think it's a bit of a mix because I think when people think of guitar, they still think of dudes.
Yeah.
It's just that kind of stereotypical thought of when people tend to think of famous guitar players, they think of just kind of older dudes. And I think most people, their image kind of defaults to that kind of either a 70s rock star, like a Jimmy Page, or 80s hair metal, or they think of a Kurt Cobain. But then you get it for the 2000s and the 2010s and stuff like that. And rock stars aren't really a thing. I would say it's been replaced with with rappers.
MGK.
Yeah.
MGK is the one to save pop punk, you know? And the weirdest timeline that we're living in, that happened. Speaking of MGK, I saw MGK at Warped Tour.
Oh, wow.
I remember just being is that a rapper at Warped Tour? And my friend just been yeah. His name's MGK.
There was Katy Perry when she did Warped Tour.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was going to say, Katy Perry, that's the first time I heard of Katy Perry was when she did Warped Tour. And I was listening to it, I'm what is going on with Warped Tour right now? What has happened?
Yeah.
I was so confused.
Yeah, I would definitely say it's half and half because I know last year, whenever I would present the show, I would present it in these Facebook groups, mostly these Facebook groups that were very much I'm losing the word, which was very much more a different demographic. There were more trans people, more people of color. And I would hope that those people would gravitate towards that because they see that we're trying to do something different. And then there was naturally the people that there were some people who I didn't expect who enjoys the show. I have one friend, completely different political ideology, but he loves the show. Completely, he knows where I stand and he loves the show. He loves our humor. And for me, Nelson came up with the tagline, a gear channel for everyone, I believe.
Yeah.
And I think
that's solid.
Yeah. I think seeing that, and the 50-50 of okay, because personally, I thought the gear community was going to hate us.
Oh my God. I was sweating.
Yeah. I thought they were not going to be accepting of us because you're kind of self-conscious of your chops, one, but two, it's just hey, we know certain brands are associated with certain demographics and certain communities. And, I don't think they're going to be accepting of us, which surprisingly they have been. A lot of people have been, and that's been, for lack of a better term, a blessing. I'm grateful, so grateful for that. But I think it's been 50-50. I think, people that gravitate towards us, I think it's the humor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think it's the humor. And I would like to say the dorkiness, but also the realness. between Tia and I, because it's just like, who we are on camera is who we are.
Yeah,
So,
I think the best part of the show is like we're literally just a bunch of nerds who get together and talk about our favorite things.
Yeah.
And I hope that you can see that through the camera. And at least from what I've seen so far, that seems to be the audience reaction. It's just, oh, I feel like I'm in the room with these people.
Yeah.
And then, that's what we're going for.
Yeah. And then for that question, that's why I feel like it's half and half, because I feel like there's parts of the gear community that have like embraced us, and I've just been like, oh wow, I never would have expected that. And there are people that I would say I'm making an effort to show them our channel, because it's just like, okay, we know if you like Jazz Masters, you're going to like our channel. Hopefully, we know if there's certain things that if you like, you're going to like. But I want to talk to the people that don't feel like they're represented. I want to talk to that little girl that that dad had that was like, hey, you can do that too. Like, so for me, it's kind of hard in the sense of, I know there are people that is 50-50 in that sense with your question, but I've spent my time focusing on the other people that I feel like aren't included. So for me, like, that's why I'm kind of struggling with this question, because like, I feel like I don't want to sound cocky, but it's just like the people that are accepting of us, that I kind of feel like we're going to be accepting of us, I don't acknowledge them, because I really want the people that feel underrepresented or, just not included to feel included. And that's like in the various groups that I'm in, that's who I try to aim the channel for when I'm presenting it to them. So. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a weird thing as content creators, which is, I didn't realize that that's become a somewhat distasteful term amongst certain artists, which I find a little bit strange, but some things are what they are. But it's something that I've always been cognizant of, is like, I don't want to make anything that makes it feel like elitist or anything like that, because, admittedly, like some of the gear stuff, when I was first learning about it, it felt that way. I'm like, oh, so if I don't have a, $8,000 Les Paul into a $5,000 Two Rock, you mean it's not going to be cool? Like that's the way some of the forums were when I was first like doing heavy gear research. And then with experience, you just realize that that's just nonsense. Like that doesn't matter at all. It's just, do you like it or not? If it sounds good, it's good, like that's all it is at the end of the day. And, it took me even a little while to learn that. And so with this show, I like fancy guitars, but I also have a $30 guitar I really like. It doesn't matter. It's just like, do you like it? Cool. Like, that's awesome. And I want more people to realize, like, it's just okay to like what you like. You don't have to like whatever Uncle Joe said. It doesn't matter. Just do your thing. Just do you.
To kind of interject and throw one of my coworkers, Shane, under the bus. It's funny because he's building his first pedal board, and he's asking me all these questions and about which pedals to get and this, and this. And, to kind of piggyback of what you're saying, I told him, I was like, dude, it doesn't give, I was like, dude, don't care what I think. I was like,
right.
Don't care what I think. Does it sound good to you? And do you like it? I was like, and I was like, that's all that matters. I was like, and he was like, but you review gear. I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah. And I'm telling you, it doesn't matter. As long as it makes you happy and it keeps you playing, that's all that matters.
100%. 100%. Yeah, one thing I get a lot, and like part of me is like thankful that people think of me in this way. But then part of me, like, I keep saying the same answer over and over again. So they're like, I'll get people emailing me and be like, how do I set my amp to get this sound? How do I set my this to get this sound? And I'm just like, I've never played that amp. But what I would do if I had played that amp is I would twist the knobs around until I liked what I heard. Like
pretty much,
and that's really, it sounds dumb, but it really is as simple as that. Also, like trying to hear with your ears and not your eyes.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'll look at my sound and I'm like, why is the tone control rolled all the way off? I don't know. It works though, type of thing. Like we're real susceptible to that as humans, hearing with our eyes. That's a huge thing that we all do, and it's impossible not to do. Unless you're blind, I guess that's possible. That's possible. I'm half blind, so there's.
I mean,
I can say that.
These aren't for fashion.
Yeah, no, same.
No, I agree with that. I think that's one thing that's kind of funny because there's a running joke that I'm bourgeois, which on certain things I am. In terms of pedals, I'll admit that I am. But in terms of guitar, I'm just like, look, dude, if it sounds good and you know how to use it, just use it. Like, and that's the thing I think I've tried to get people to combat is like seeing with their eyes. Because the nerdy side of me, I was trying to prove something to a friend or a coworker, Shane.
Man, Shane's really getting it on this episode.
I was trying to prove something to him, and he was just like, this. I was like, dude, I guarantee you, like, those pickups are the same. They're wound the same. They're the same magnets. And like, I was like, Fender hasn't changed those in years. He was like, yeah, but the pickups on this American one sounds better. So I had our tech take them out and like flip them over and show him. I was like, you're seeing with your eyes. I was like, they're the exact same material, exact same thing. So it's, I get that. And, I get that it's people like one example that recent that as far as seeing with their eyes is a lot of people will see like the new 40th anniversary Squires and they're just like, oh man, that's too much for a Squire. But then they'll see like something that's made in America and they're like, oh yeah, this is it.
$2,000 easy.
Yeah, this is it. I'm like, literally that desert sand Jazzmaster and the custom shop looks identical. The only big difference, which is photos, the only big difference is the decal on the headstock and maybe the material because we haven't had it in our hands. But I was like, but the thing that I add to that and I try to tell people, I was like, but is that going to be, is the difference outside of looks worth it in terms of cost? Is this going to make this like a, like really crap, like probably close to like 7 or 8 times the cost of, the Squire? No. So I get what you're saying with the seeing with your eyes. Or listening with your eyes.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely a point of diminishing returns, right? And for me, that starts to happen around and maybe this is creeping up because the cost on everything's creeping up right now. But I've always thought that once you get past like $3,000 on a guitar, the returns on that, like the details and the little things, they really start to go downhill. How much is a $10,000 instrument better than a $3,000 one? Not really that much better. Can a $3,000 one be a lot better than a $100 one? Absolutely. But like in terms of numbers, it starts to fall off a cliff real fast once you get over that $3,000 mark, and that's expensive. I'm not saying it's a cheap instrument at that point. I'm just saying much past that, and you're paying for something else, at the end of the day, I think.
A similar story I have to that was at Summer NAMM at the Martin booth. They had a $100,000 guitar, and I got to play it. And then like one of my coworkers was with me, and like afterwards, he was like, so does that play like 100? Is that the best guitar you ever played? And I was like, no. I was like, I played D10s that sound better.
Dude, so similar story. Not quite 100,000, but I remember I was at work and a coworker just walks up to me. It's a Martin. He just puts it in my hands. There's no price tag on it, and he's like, "Tell me what you think." So I played it a little bit, and I was like, "It's okay." And then he shows me the price tag, and it was $30,000, and I was just like, you can have this back.
Yeah.
Right.
I like having kidneys. So.
Yeah.
That's a degree. That's a car. That's a down payment on a house. Like you could do a lot. But
yeah, that's a down payment on a house. At least the house you have equity in, like a $30,000.
I mean, it's not going far now, but I'm just.
I was say maybe in rural Montana. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, not in Atlanta, Georgia.
Definitely not Atlanta.
Not Portland, Oregon either. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's the thing though. Like I think as far as diminishing returns, I think like I've had to step back and understand the collector's market and the collector's ideology of hey, this is going to be like a painting, like something like
Yeah.
that. And
Mm-hmm.
while I'm just like, all right, you're a musician, I don't get it, but I get it. You know, I can respect that. I've had to understand that approach, as some people are looking at like that $100,000 Martin. And if that was a one-off, I would be like, okay, I get it. I wouldn't buy it, obviously.
But somebody will. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
somebody would if it was a one-off or like, you know, something extremely rare. But I don't know. Like some people, there's certain guitars and I'm just like, dude, like you can spend a couple hundred extra and still be under $3,000 and still get like a vintage one that'll hold its value.
Right.
Like that will only go up in value versus something that's current. And like I tell people, yeah, Xander in the background, like Fender amps. No, like I tell everyone, I was like, it also depends on what you're doing with it. If you're a collector, I get it. If you're playing shows and touring, you probably don't want to do that. That diminishing return is really, really something you want to think about.
Mm-hmm. And you know, and I'm not hating on anybody that likes to buy and can buy higher end stuff. Like I definitely like higher end things. And like you pedals, I love high end pedals. Like that's such my thing. And I realize that some of the time I'm like, there's certain brands that I own that I'm like, part of the reason I own this is just because it's cool. Like just because I think it's cool. Like, you know, and that's I'm okay with that. I am aware of that. As long as you're aware of these things, if you're an educated consumer, I think that's the most important part, you know,
Definitely.
Instead of falling into the trap of like, you know, I think this, I remember there was I think it was a $50,000 instrument cable I posted like years ago. And I was like, I'm sorry, but you're getting taken. Like that is not going to help you. I know you might think it's going to, but it's not. It's just not.
No.
Like, no.
There's just certain things like that. I'm just like, okay, like there was
like $50,000. Like it must have been made from like gold that was taken from King Tut's like pyramid that they like melted it down. That would be the only way I'd pay $50,000 for that.
What's this? Yeah, it must have been melted down from the Spear of Destiny. It's like, oh yeah, it's got a little bit of Jesus blood on it.
Oh my God.
It's going to give you the tone of gods. I don't know. Like I think it's funny because I am a cable connoisseur, but I would never spend $50,000 on it. To be fair, if I didn't work in a music store, I wouldn't buy Mugami.
Say even
right.
like I do, and I've never bought Mugami. I've bought like the most expensive cables I bought were those like gold Boss cables.
See,
and I felt bad about that.
Well, the only reason. Okay, so this is where the scientific part of me comes out. Like the only reason I did that is because at the time when I had a smaller pedal board and I could afford to at the time, I would change out cables just to see the sonic difference. And if there was a sonic difference, and sonically there wasn't a difference, it was just the noise floor that changed. So I wasn't getting as much hiss or hum, and I didn't have to replace cables as often. So I was like, okay, I saw that. And as my pedal board gained sentience and grew and grew and grew and became Skynet.
Jason just plays a computer.
Yeah, at this point, I just pretty much play a computer.
I can relate to that. Yeah,
but I mean, but at the same time, would I ever drop $50,000 on a cable? No. Like that's
it was just like, there was another one recently. What was it? It was a power outlet that you wired into your, like you took the plug out of your wall, you unwired it, and you wired this power outlet in, and it was like a power conditioner. I don't remember what the price was on it, but it was a lot. And I was like, it was something absurd. Wampler sent it to me. I can't remember what it was, but something like $5,000 or $10,000. And I'm like, that's just a GFI outlet. Like we're not, like, let's not get dumb. Like, again, like be an educated consumer. Like, please don't buy these type of things. They're not going to change anything for you.
Bro, if that thing ain't paying a power bill or something else, it ain't worth it. Like,
it's like a used Honda Accord money.
Yeah. We play this game of like, we'll look up stuff like that and be like, that's the price of a used Honda Civic.
Yeah.
No, that's, to me, it's just, it's weird that people do that like on certain things because I was explaining to someone.
It wasn't Shane, was it?
Huh?
Was it Shane?
Actually, it was Shane. It was Shane.
Oh my God.
He's gonna be like, Jason, you hate me so much. I'm like, no, it was like, but I was explaining to him the difference with certain things.
No,
like,
just I love you so much. I had to include you in this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he was like, with HDMI cables, he was like, the difference. And I was like, dude, it's transferring data. Like, there is no
ones and
like,
zeros.
oh, this is going to do it more efficiently. I was like, it's a cash grab. I was like, just buy the one that's sturdy. Obviously don't buy the one that's like the cheapest made, but buy one that's sturdy and that's going to last, and you're good.
Yeah. Yep. It's ones and zeros. You can get really expensive HDMI cables, and it's that's not it's not helping you at all.
Yeah, I remember when I got the Best Buy card the first time, and I got approved for like an exorbitant amount of money, and that guy just came back with the most expensive HDMI cable. I was like, bruh,
No.
You go put that right back. No.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I mean, we as humans, we're so weird, like we'll get down to like, how does the finish affect the tone? And meanwhile, somebody who's just really good can just pick up whatever. And it's like, oh, well, they made that thing sound fantastic. That Glary just turned into a, 1959 Les Paul in their hands somehow. And it does come down to just like, some people just got it, But at the same time, the gear does matter. Sometimes when the tone is in the fingers, crowd goes really, really wild in the forums. The statement I've always said is like, yeah, but if the gear didn't matter, then Cannibal Corpse would play ukuleles. Like it does matter to some degree.
I agree with you. I do think gear matters. And I guess it's the perspective you're looking at it from, because I got in an argument with on unpopular guitar opinions on Facebook about this guy. He was just like, oh, yeah.
You said Facebook. Say no more.
Yeah. He was just like, cheap guitars are crap and yada, yada, yada. And I was like,
no.
I was like, well, it depends. I was like, do you think your audience is really going to know the difference between a Squier Strat and a Mexican Strat, an American Strat or Japanese Strat?
Or even a custom shop.
They're not going to know the difference. So it's like, they're just listening, and if you sound good. And it's like, at that point, it doesn't matter what you're playing. I was like, most of it is for yourself. And again, that's where diminishing returns come back in. And it's just like, but gear does matter, because I've always, with the exception of that, I was like, however, if you put a cheap guitar through a nice amp, it's going to sound good. But if you do the reverse, not so much.
Yeah,
not usually.
But
amps. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. I think the best example I've ever heard was, it's not really like, God, I'm trying to think. So it's, guitar, the gear versus the player. It's not the cook. Oh, I'm sorry. It's not the kitchen. It's the cook. But, even a high, dollar chef may use some top level knives every now and again, or has their favorite brand of pots and pans, someone who is knowledgeable and has that type of skill can, really throw down in a not so great kitchen. But, if given proper tools, they can really, really make a meal that you won't forget.
Totally random. And I just want to get, I just thought about something funny. When you said it's not the cook, it's not the kitchen, it's the cook. I was like, I totally want to throw Gordon Ramsay in the back of a Popeye.
Oh my God.
See what he does. And it's just like, oh yeah.
Just put him in McDonald's.
Yeah, just put him in McDonald's. Just
yeah.
Oh my God.
I
don't think I could handle seeing Ramsay just scream at teenagers and middle-aged people.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can do it when they go to him for it. Yeah. I don't want to see him foisted upon anybody.
Just insert it in there. Yeah.
I think my favorite Ramsey clip is when he's got that person's head in between two slices of bread. Have you seen that? He's got their. It's like, what are you? You're an idiot sandwich.
Yes.
Man, that's brutal, but it's really funny. Not gonna lie, that poor person. Oh man, I think that might have been the first time I talk about food a fair amount on this show. That might have been the first time that Gordon Ramsay's actually been brought up, which is kind of astounding.
Thoughts, and I'm just like, I should say this before I forget
it. That's fair. That's fair. So, where do you guys see the channel going? Are you guys going to just keep doing more of the same, which is fantastic? And also, I haven't noted, I think what you guys are doing is really unique. like there's not another channel like it in our space. And I think that's why people have been drawn to it so quickly, is like so I heard about it and I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. Let's go check it out. Click, click. Like, oh, oh yeah, this is for me. This is subscribe. Like, you know, but do you see yourselves going in another direction? Do you see yourselves bringing more guests on, or like, what do you see the future of the channel being?
I mean, how much can we say?
Let's just be transparent. Like we've always tried to be transparent, so let's be transparent.
Okay. I mean, yeah. I mean, basically, I don't want to say doing more of the same thing, but like bigger and better. But like definitely we're wanting more guests. We're definitely wanting to do more interviews, and even in like the style, like the layout of the videos, we're wanting to improve upon. So every time we have a break, we call it a season. So, you know, we're currently on season 3?
I think season 3.
Yeah, we're currently on season 3 of, you know, just working on this as a whole, and we've got some ideas. Yeah. So, I mean, even from what you've seen in the past, you'll still see that, but with some added material. Yeah.
To add on to what Tia said, I think we are in the future. We're going to we're trying to branch out. We recently started working class podcasts, which I think we're going to try to do more of. Only because one, I've been nagging everybody about doing it, and I was like, oh, I think this would be really cool, like. And I was like, just give me a reason to buy that Rode Podcaster. You know, I think there are things that we want to expound upon. Like one of the things that I think as a whole, all 4 of us really like to do is like the interviews with, not necessarily like with other people in general, like people that are different. The common theme is music.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing we want to do. I know we want to do a whole bunch more stuff. Definitely want to do a lot of like live streams, and definitely like take the formula that we have and just make it better. Just make it like, you know, make it a better movie. Like if this was to use Star Wars, if the first year was A New Hope, we want this to be Empire Strikes Back. Not so much The Last Jedi, but The Empire Strikes Back. Like The Force Awakens.
I don't know Star Wars enough to understand that.
Well, let me do it like this. You might not understand this one, but I'm going to try it. Star Trek reference.
That's even worse.
All right, I'm ready.
I feel like...
No, I'm ready. I'm here for it.
The adults are talking.
Yeah. Okay. Want to be the Wrath of Khan, but not the Final Frontier.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But pull like this. Dang, I'm trying to think. What was it?
I feel like, you know, like when you're a kid and like the adults like start spelling in front of you because they don't want you to know what they're saying.
Dang, I'm trying to think of a good pop reference to...
I'm a nerdy guy. I'm following you already, so like, don't worry about that. Like, I'm with you.
Yeah, well, it's just like, yeah, I just want to make it better. Just make it better.
Okay, if we started with like great value bread, we've upgraded. We're getting
Wonder Bread.
Name brand now. Wonder Bread.
Wonder Bread.
Yeah. Great value butter. No. Land O'Lakes.
Yes, Land O'Lakes.
Land O'Lakes.
Still going to get you fat, but Land O'Lakes. Actually, it's funny because a fellow YouTuber reached out to me today, and I was going to talk to Tia about this off camera, about doing something at the end of April, and like I'm stoked about it, and I think that's one thing I want to push for is to collaborate more.
Yes.
Collaborate with more of the YouTubers, like talk to more of them, because Emily, Ryan, Mike Adams, like, dang, everyone that we've, like, Andy the guitar, like, everyone, Phil from 40. I'm just trying to make sure that none of them, like, I get an angry text after this podcast.
You didn't mention me.
But everyone has been so kind to us, and it's just like, man, we'd love to collaborate with you.
Each and every one of y'all.
Yeah, so I think that's in the cards as well. Also, I tend to think more business-minded, but at the same time, I want to keep us... Well, I don't want to use the term play authentic or authentic because I think Gibson...
we will be sued.
Yeah, we will be
you
sued.
don't want to get sued. Yeah.
But I know Tia wants to talk or get more... talk more about or review more gear that is very, especially in these trying times, economically friendly. Like the new Fender pedals that just came out, like that.
Yeah, like less $100 and less. Like I want to review each and every one of them.
Yeah, and I think that's a wonderful avenue. I think that's the approach you want to take. It's just like, for me personally, I want to review stuff that we love, stuff from our friends. The three things. I want to review stuff that we love, stuff from our friends, and stuff that people can realistically buy. Yeah. Like, it doesn't have to be all three in one.
Yeah.
It's wonderful when it is, but
like, I think we tend to forget, especially like when we're people who are just like really, really, really into guitars, like we don't really have an issue spending like a couple $100 on like a pedal or, over $1,000 on like an amp or on a new guitar. But then I feel like I get humbled anytime I like go home or I talk to someone who, wants those things but can't really afford them. Like, I'm not naming names, but like, talking to
Shane.
No, I've never met Shane.
I know. I'm just messing.
I'm just going to use the name Shane. Yeah. So talking to a friend of a friend, Shane, who really wants, like a nicer Jazzmaster, like dreams of buying like an American Pro, but is realistically in like classic vibe territory because like he has bills and he has like a mortgage and he just had a wedding and things like that. So I think it would be refreshing to put a more realistic approach on these things other than just assuming that everybody can, no offense, Jason, but not just assuming anybody can come in with like a
your rig. So don't throw me under the bus.
But you don't know what I paid for it because I got a really good deal.
And you don't know what I paid for mine.
So it's not like I was gonna say like not everyone comes in with like a 2-Rock or a Matchless or like a Morgan amp, like a lot of people are on like like a lot of people are on like a Hot Rod Deluxe.
In my defense, I didn't pay over $1,000 for that Matchless.
That's fair. I mean, and I didn't pay over $1,000 for my Orange.
Yeah, see. So, just like nice things.
Yeah, I like to save money and have nice things, and they don't always go hand in hand.
Don't look at my amps. There's nothing
here.
The guitars.
But no, like to bounce off of what Tia said, I want there to be balance on my end. Like, it's nice to check out the nicer stuff, but I also, since we're trying to gear, wow, no pun intended, since we're trying to gear this towards everyone, like there should be the brackets of like, hey, if you're on a budget, because there was one idea we had for a Christmas episode now, which we would have done, but
time got in the way.
Yeah. Realistically, we just been too much to do, and it was like a $500 rig, and
we could try again this year.
Yeah, we could try again this year, and for me personally, like I realized that I just don't want, personally, I don't want the channel to get stuck in one direction or the other, and so that's why. Personally, I'm trying to like pull us in all these different directions, and I think I think I just want us to stay true to ourselves, and I want people to be able to relate, even on any level. Like if their budget is $300, I want them to be able to watch a video of ours and be like, okay, that's a good thing I can get. Like if their budget is, don't get me wrong, like I don't want to go insane and be like, oh yeah, let's go and buy a $5,000 guitar. Like that's just not going to happen. I got this.
Custom shop. Is it worth it?
Yeah, it's custom shop. Is it worth it? Well, I don't know. Let's go into the Lamborghini and find out.
Right. Hops in a Porsche.
Yeah. I'll meet you there. And yes, but no, it's just, I think for me, I just want to, for the show, just get better at what we're doing, meet more people, talk to more people, learn a lot more, and, just keep it fun and keep it us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think just, making content that you would consume, I think is always like a really good, thing for creators to keep in mind. That's something that I've always tried to do. And that's why my YouTube game is so slacking. Like I have a channel and I've never put enough time into it because I'm like, I can't quite do it the way I want to do it. And this year I'm just ripping the Band-Aid off and I'm just going to start going for it. Not as aggressively as I did in 2020. What was that? Was it 2020? Yeah, 2020. I don't know if you guys were aware of this, but in 2020, I was like, I'm doing 30 videos in 30 days.
Oh.
And I went for it. And I got like 14 done. And then my entire area caught on fire. We got put on an evac notice.
Oh.
And And I just like, I could have done it. We didn't end up having to evacuate, but I was so stressed and like the air quality was horrible. And I was just like, was on edge because I knew we could have to leave like anytime. I was just like, I made a video. I'm like, sorry, I failed. I'm not doing the rest of them, you know, like I gotta take some time off, but it did work. Like, that's when I like got over the 1,000 subscriber hump. And it was like, oh, okay, I see. If you're consistent and people like it, you know, that's consistency is like the key, right?
Yeah.
But this year I'm going to try to go back, you know, on a somewhat regular schedule, and I'm getting some new cameras and things just to try to make things as good as I can. But all that to say is like, I've always felt like I'm better at podcasting, like having conversations with other people and meeting new people. Like, that's where my real strength lies. So that's where I focused for so long. But I do feel like I've left some things on the table by not putting efforts into YouTube in the way that I should. And watching some of my peers that did, like Ryan from 60 Cycle is a great example. We got started close to the same time, and he like put in so much time and energy into YouTube, and it's paid off really well for him. We've been doing the same thing for about the same amount of time. And sometimes I look at his channel, I'm like, I could have done that. Like, not the same thing. Obviously he's great at what he does, but I'm like, I could have made a channel. I didn't make a channel. So all that to say is I do think focusing on what you feel are your strengths and making content that you would like first and foremost is the most important thing. Because admittedly, I listen to way more podcasts than I watch YouTube videos. That's just my thing, you know? So I think you guys are doing cool stuff, and I think you're heading in the right direction. I'm excited to check out your podcast now.
Thank
you. That on all of the platforms, or is it?
It's just on our YouTube channel. It was literally we realized last week or the week before, we were like, hey, it's the new year. We haven't filmed anything. Like, let's just try this. So yeah, I think it's going to happen though. I personally want to, me on my own level, I want to get more into podcasting. Only because of the 3 interviews that we've done. It's felt so refreshing, like hearing people tell their stories.
Yeah.
And just like sitting down and listening. And, you know, it's always, every time we've done one and every time I've watched it, it's always been insightful. It's always been like, you know, I'm learning something, and it makes the world seem a lot better than what it currently is. So yeah. I think it shines a light on how it actually is, honestly. Yeah. I've been doing this nonstop. I did it all through the pandemic. I mean, which is still going on, obviously. But like all through lockdown, I never stopped. I've been doing it the whole time. And hearing all these different people from different backgrounds, different places in the world, all collectively like trying to do the best they can, you kind of realize that despite what social media and the news will try to tell you, even if we have different ideas of ways to go about things, everybody's just trying to do the same thing for the most part. Everybody's just trying to live a life that they can, you know, enjoy and do things they want to do and not hurt people. Like, even if it seems like maybe ideologically they don't line up with you, everyone's just trying to do their thing. And having, at this point, thousands of conversations, it's like, yeah, people just want to have a good time, make music, or whatever they're into, and it's made it feel like a more generally positive place. So you should do more, because you learn a lot. I've certainly learned a lot myself. I think we will. Now, I know Nelson will probably hate it, the editing part, but we'll do more. So, but
he'll be fine.
Yeah, he'll be all right.
He'll be okay. But you'll be all right, Nelson.
I think we will. Again, me personally, I really just want to speak to more people, because there are obviously, being Atlanta, there are a ton of interesting people here. There are
so many.
Yeah, and being a musical city, there actually we were at a record release party the other night, and the thing that I turned to Tia and said, I was like, look at the diversity in here, like. And that was like a wow moment. And in that moment, like after I said it, I was like, man, it'd be cool just to talk to everybody. Obviously I wouldn't go up there personally and talk to them, because I was having an anxiety attack before Tia showed up. And I was just like, but in a podcast format, it's like, hey, we're different. Obviously, we look different, but we're here.
What brought you here?
Yeah, what brought you here?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Definitely. Well, let's see. What time are we at? Okay, we're at 53, and there are two of you. So this might be a good time to dive into the classic questions, since there are two of you. But before we do that, I like to give the guests the opportunity to kind of take the floor and, shout out their grandma or, plug anything they want to plug, say hi to Shane or whatever it is you want to talk about. Like, this is kind of your opportunity to say whatever you want to say to a few thousand people.
Oh, man. First and foremost, if you're listening to this right now, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for making it this far. Thank you for, if you're new, thank you for just giving us a chance. If you stuck with us for the year now, year plus, thank you. Really, that's like, because we're not rock stars, and we realize we're not a big channel. So we're just grateful, and really the people we shout out is everyone that's kind of given us a chance. Like, if I went through the list, I know I would forget someone. Really, check out the other YouTubers that have showed us so much love, and some that haven't. Like,
not yet.
Not yet.
We'll win them over. We'll win them over.
Well, yes, we will. Like, they're just all the awesome brands that like Old Blood Noise, Strymon, Chase Bliss, PRS.
That was surprising. Yeah, PRS.
That did not expect that. But every one of those brands that like took a chance on us, and I know we're not, I guess I don't want to be like a pessimist on it, but it's like, but I don't go in with the expectation that like, oh yeah, this video is going to do like 1 million views. Like, it's just us having fun. So for people that stuck around and appreciate that.
Dude, I'm so shocked that like videos break 1,000 views. Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, we're just happy to be here. So other than that, the other shout out quotas that I have to meet, check out Punk Black. They are an Atlanta-based organization, and they are awesome. We had Vaughn on the show, so
did a pretty sweet interview with him.
Yes, that's an episode worth checking out. On a selfish level, check out my band, Young Mountain. We just dropped our EP. It's very personal to me because it was in remembrance of my dad, and it deals with a lot of mental health issues. And it's while I think it's the most meaningful thing I've ever done with music. And so I would say, yeah, check out my band. If you don't like our stuff, that's fine. If you like our stuff, that's fine. Outside of that, let's see. Oh yeah, I am working class. Yeah, I am with working class music. Like, I was like, hey, check out working class music. Yeah, check out our channel. Definitely check out our channel. Watch our videos. Leave us comments. Who else? God, I feel like an acceptance speech. I need to wrap it up.
I'd like to thank the Academy.
Yeah, I'd like to thank the Academy. Just all of our friends and all the wonderful people that have showed us support. Like, big thank you to Rhett Shull, because one, we did poke fun at him in one of our videos, and I haven't spoken to him since, and I'm kind of worried. But two, he honestly, like, low key, I know some people may feel a certain way about him, but he was one of the best individuals I've gotten to speak with in terms of like the whole YouTube thing and what people wanted to see. And he was super supportive. And that is something that I don't take for granted, because it's just like, all of us are human, and all of us are here doing this. And, despite what some people may think, you don't know the person you're watching. And I will go to bat for that dude, because he is a legit dude, like super kind, super awesome. And, he gave us a chance. He was one of the people that gave us a chance. Didn't have to, especially being someone of like his stature. He didn't have to. So that's, got to shout him out. Emily from Get Offset. She was our first podcast.
I feel like she was like our first like internet friend.
Yeah, she was our first internet friend. She reached out to us, and it's funny because I was a huge fan of her Starcaster video, and like I bring that up every time, and I was like, honestly, I was like, she was the first video I saw with that Starcaster, and she was a huge part of the reason why I bought one.
Dude, okay, so since we're also, just gassing up Emily, her Supersonic video was actually kind of like one of the like pushes, kind of how you said earlier, how like you see people and you're just like, well, they're doing this thing and I want to do this thing. Just rip the Band-Aid off. Let's just do the thing. And I remember seeing her video for the Squire Supersonic. And at the time I had the Japanese one, like the Vista series, Squire Supersonic. And I was like, Jason, we can do a video, the old versus the new. Yeah. Like, she did it. We got a camera. We got mics. We can do this. Yeah. And, we just did it.
Yeah. Emily is the best. Yeah. I will say it. She is the best. She's like, I feel like this channel is so indebted to her, and her kindness, like, will always be appreciative of her. Everyone we met at NAMM, because that was our first NAMM, and it was a weird experience. It was cool, but it was weird in certain areas. Just really, I can't think of anyone else to think. I feel like I'm forgetting something. It's like, oh yeah, what else do I do outside of being nerdy in music? Oh, if you're listening to this and you're in Atlanta, so Joe Warren won't kill me, check out Big Gig. That is this upcoming Saturday on February 5th. Tickets are $15, and you should come out and hang out with us. I will be there, and I will probably try to make sure I take some Prozac so I'm not freaking out in the corner.
Unfortunately,
now I have to put this out on a time schedule. All right, I'll do it. I'll do it for you guys.
If you missed it afterwards,
I'll do it for
just
you
watch
guys.
my band.
No, I'll make sure. I'll make sure and get it up in the appropriate time frame so people can hear that. So cool. Do you have anything else, Tia? You have anything else?
No, I don't play in a band, so
not yet.
Not yet. I mean, who knows? Who knows what this year could bring? Hopefully, something comes my way. That'd be a lot of fun.
You can be in my band.
There you go.
Through Zoom.
Yes.
Through Zoom. Hey,
would be the Postal Service part 2.
Ooh,
UPS.
Oh my God. No, I worked for UPS. No.
FedEx.
Let's just be Amazon, where we work all the time and get no breaks.
Okay. Well,
perfect. That's what everybody wants.
Yeah. Just burnt out all the time.
That's great. All right. Last couple questions. Here we go. These are the classic questions. First one. What is your favorite Boss pedal?
SY1.
RE20.
The what?
Oh.
Space Echo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys were quick on the draw with those. Do you have those chambered? Were you ready for that?
Oh, no. I was like, that's just been my favorite Boss pedal.
Yeah, they're just fun.
Awesome.
Actually.
Well, now you're changing it. Actually, it's an MT2.
No, it's the RC5. That's the Boss pedal I use the most.
RC5? Those are good pulls.
Yes.
I forget about the SY1 sometimes. I need to try that one
again. If we're going off of Boss pedals that we use, and I guess my favorite would be my TU3.
That's a very common answer.
Yeah.
Very, very common answer.
I just feel like that's the boring answer. SY1's a lot of fun.
SY1 is a lot of fun.
It is. It's a cool pedal. I remember when they launched that a long time ago, and I'm like, why don't I have one of those? I got to fix that. All right, this last question is the one that gets people in trouble. This one's a little bit controversial. Families have broken up over it. It's a thing. So
I'm excited.
Just really think about it. What is your favorite kind of pizza?
Oh, I can.
Probably say classic cheese. Maybe cheese stuffed crust cheese.
New York style pepperoni and bacon.
Eat a Chicago deep dish.
Yeah. Chicago, get out of here with that. That's whack. I don't want that pasta. New York.
Dude,
New York style.
I don't know. New York style is pretty good.
Yeah, New York style is the best. Like,
I'm like trying to think back of like all the pizza I've ever had. I will say the strangest pizza that was also really delicious is a local place here in Atlanta, plant-based pizza. I had a vegan, it was a chorizo peach pizza. So the whole pineapple on pizza debate? They had peach on pizza, and it was delicious. I don't like pineapple on pizza. I'm not that person, but pineapple on pizza. I'm sorry, but peach on pizza. It was ridiculously delicious.
I feel like Georgia, like that. If you're gonna put peach on pizza, it's gonna be in Georgia.
Yeah,
right?
it feels like you
Surprised I
have
haven't
to.
put lemon pepper on pizza yet.
I'm sure someone has.
Yeah.
I'm positive someone has, like maybe on the crust.
Yeah.
I might go home and try
Lemon
that.
pepper.
There you go.
I mean, I've heard of worse things. I'm not gonna lie. The lemon pepper could work in certain contexts. I can see it. See it. All right, I like those answers. Those are good answers. I'm a New York style pizza guy myself. I've always said about the Chicago that, and Chicago people get after me for this, but like it's good, but it's not pizza. It's like its own thing. I mean, who doesn't want just a pile of cheese?
It's a pie.
Yeah, it's like a calzone. You would never call a calzone a piece of pizza, but it's a pizza. It's a pizza cousin, though.
Yeah, no,
and that's kind of how I
same family, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, Chicago. I just don't want to use a fork and knife when I'm eating my pizza, and like it has to be like this not pizza thing.
Dude, I feel like I need to like try Chicago style pizza. I've never tried one, so I can't have like a strong opinion either way.
I tried one when I was in Chicago, and I was like, this can't be as bad as it, everybody makes it out to be. And I was like, this is not pizza. Just take this back. This is not.
I want to refund. I need it flat.
Yes. It's like, what is all this? Like,
I need to pick it up and see the grease drip down.
Yeah, it's just like
You gotta fold it. You gotta fold it up. Walk to the Subway and eat it while you go.
If a rat isn't watching me, I don't want it.
Actually, I'm surprised there's something that hasn't, because like the scene that went in my head, like when they brought it out, there's a scene in the Bill Maher movie Religulous, and there's this dude, he's in this church and he's going off on about like religion, and it's funny to me because growing up in an all black community, and like the black dude was like, "What you talking about, Bill?" And then in my head, that scene is like when they brought out that pizza, that Chicago. It was like, "What you talking about? Like, what is this?"
I don't know. I will say, I think one of my my best pizza memories, also kind of speaking from like scenes of like just TV, movie, things like that, was like legit some questionable bar somewhere here in Georgia. I don't remember the name of. My group of friends and I, we ordered a pizza. And legit, when we pulled off a slice, it was like that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle pizza.
Oh, yeah.
The cheese was just like a foot long and it wasn't breaking. And the pizza was really good.
Surprisingly, the best pizza I've ever had was in Tallahassee, Florida. And there's two places.
Was there meth in it?
No.
Because it's Florida.
No, I don't do drugs. It is Florida, and there was a crazy Florida man, Rick DeSantis, but that's a different story. Or Ron DeSantis. So like that's a running joke in a different group. It's like I just call him Rick. But there's a place in Tallahassee called, two different places. One of them is called Decent Pizza. And as the name implies,
It's decent.
It's decent. But like the slices are like bigger than, you can't see it, but it's like bigger than like a 17-inch MacBook Pro. And you're just like, holy crap. And it has that cheesy goodness, like Ninja Turtle style, like goodness that like when you pick up a slice. And then the second pizza is Gain Street Pies. And they're just, oh my God. Like everything. I think the thing that set it off for me with them is their ingredients are just so fresh. And I
mean, that'll do it. Yeah.
You get used to, like, once you get used to like Domino's and like Pizza Hut, and you're just like, oh.
Yeah, just soulless pizza.
Yeah. And then once you get a pizza with a little bit of soul in it, a little bit of, it's like, oh,
That's actually made with love.
Yeah. It's like, we're not some big corporation that just wants your money.
Yeah. No, it's different. It hits different.
Yeah, it hits different. As the kids say, it hits different.
They don't say that anymore.
Well,
they don't.
That's the meth. That meth is what hits different.
No, definitely.
It's not
Florida, I assume there's meth in it.
Yeah, it's Florida.
And it hits different,
Yeah.
And that's how I lost my teeth.
Because it hits different.
This is the first time we've not first time we wrote meth into the conversation, but that's definitely the first time we've wrote meth into the pizza portion of the conversation.
I'll go to Florida this many more times. Pensacola Beach, Panama City. You won't have any teeth left when you leave.
Well, this has been awesome. Thank you guys for coming on. This has been a blast. I'm excited to see what kind of nonsense we can stir up in the Patreon section. What do you guys say?
Man.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that.
Oh man, we're gonna do it. All right, let's sign off and we'll slide on over to that section.
Okay. Oh wait. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Oh, of course. It was a blast. So for Jason and Tia, this is Blake, and as always, folks, good luck and good tones. There you have it. There it is. I hope you enjoyed that episode as much as I did. Please go check out the Working Class Music YouTube channel. You can find the link to that in the show notes. They are killing it. I love what they are doing. They're bringing some unique flavor to the gear world, and that is always very, very much appreciated. So please go check that out. Please share this with somebody you think might enjoy it. I don't even care if they play guitar or not. If there is somebody in your life that you think would enjoy these conversations, please blast this their way. The show has been growing a lot over the last couple years, and that is entirely due to folks letting other people know about it. So thank you so much, and I will talk to you on the internet. Bye-bye. One last thing before we totally sign off here. I just want to remind you that if you do any shopping at Stringjoy, that's Stringjoy guitar strings made in Nashville, that will help me out as well. As I've said for years, I'm heavily involved in that company, and I really do think they're making the best products on the market. So if you would like to try custom strings, go to tonemob.com/stringjoy and check them out today. I seriously love what the team down there is doing. I help them out with all kinds of things, and by you supporting them, you are also supporting me as well. And hey, you need some strings, so why not get some custom strings just for your guitar and playing style? Again, the link for that is tonemob.com/stringjoy, and that will take you right to their website, and you can do all your shopping through there, and that will help everyone involved out. So thank you very much. Talk to you next time. We are brought to you by the wonderful folks at Gun Street Wiring Shop. Yes, Gun Street Wiring Shop. I've talked about them before. I used to say based out of Bend, Oregon, but guess what? Sean moved to my neck of the woods. Sean's in Portland. Sean is awesome and has helped me with a bunch of stuff lately. And if you have wiring needs for your guitar, he can help you too. If you want to get weird with it, he can get weird. If you just need to spruce things up a little bit, there's your guy. He takes all the guesswork out of doing your guitar wiring, and he makes it simple, and his customer service is top-notch, and I can't say enough good things about Gun Street as a company. I really respect Sean and what he's all about, and the product is top-notch. I've got 3 different guitars that now have Gun Street harnesses in them, and I could not be happier. So go to gunstreetwiringshop.com and check them out.